She needs to talk to figure out even what she feels. They need to disconnect so they can be alone with their thoughts. So if you know yourself enough to know that, then you can share that. And we don't want to put things off more than 24 hours. The absolute need of the masculine and absolute need of the feminine. And if we've gone off track a little bit, that's okay, because once we get back on track, you'll find that that really does serve you more. So with communication, masculine men are very straight to the point. They're very, there's one problem and, this is all they see. And with women, they're not straight to the point. There's like a million problems. and this problem means that problem, and then there's another problem, and because of that problem there's a third problem. And so I think Tony Robbins jokes that women take small things and blows them up and men take big things and dismisses it, makes it a small problem. So we need to understand that, and that really does allow us to support our partner even more. Women are used to gathering a lot of information. When we talk about hunters gatherers, if they were out there looking for berries, they needed to remember the path to the berries, and they need to remember what tree it was next to and what color they were, where the poisonous ones, where the fruitful ones are. All that information they gathered. That's why women are great multitaskers. They gather so much information. It's also why women can be very overwhelmed, because they take in everything. While they're cooking, they have to, make sure the pot of water doesn't boil over. Meanwhile, they're listening for the baby. Is the baby awake in the room? And is my husband fed? And did we, I mean, there's just like, again, a million things that she has to think about. So women tend to be very overwhelmed, whereas men are very hyper focused. When we're masculine mode, it's very much, there's the lion, and I'm hyper focused on the lion and what I'm going to do to kill that lion. So understanding that, men are very singular focused. If we bring up emotional or sensitive issues when they're not ready, they, number one, can be irritated, upset. They're not listening. They're not listening. They can't support you. They jump into the fix it mode, and it just creates a mess. They can't support you the way you want to be supported. So when we want to communicate with a man, we always have to make sure it's an appropriate time and that they're not focused on anything else. So in the middle, like I never bring up a discussion while I'm driving with a man, because they're focused on the road. If they're operating heavy machinery, don't have a deep discussion. If they're, working, don't have a deep discussion. And so knowing the time and the place to bring up, communication. And also making sure it doesn't come as a big deal. And usually with women, if we don't handle a problem right away, it just snowballs. It snowballs and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger till all of a sudden it's, we're over. I don't, you don't love me. I don't love you, versus, you didn't take out the trash. That's all that happened. It just became this massive, massive deal. So that being said, with men, we need to bring sensitive things up in an appropriate time. And I'm a big fan of asking permission for a man, and that's my way of respecting them. And so asking, I have something very sensitive to share, is now a good time. I have something, important to say. I like the word sensitive, is now a good time. And if they say, no, I'm in the middle of a football game, then say, great, when can we talk? Hopefully within the next 24 hours. Otherwise it gets really big. Like I'll just make it big in my head. So if you know yourself enough to know that, then you can share that. And we don't want to put things off more than 24 hours for women. And so women need to talk through things to get to the point, and women need to express everything to get to the point. Women generally don't need answers or solutions. It's invalidating when you say, when I come to you and say I'm stressed about work, and you're like, well, quit your job. It invalidates my feelings. So all I wanted to do is talk about my feelings. And for women, if they want your advice, they'll ask you for it. And this is also good to know for your friends, for your kids, all of this stuff. So we generally don't want advice until we've been understood and heard. So giving women a chance to vent, that also means women, we can't vent for 3 hours because that's exhausting. For a man, it's like, I can only sit there and nod for so long. So we need to be aware of, I'm talking to a man, I'm not talking to my girlfriend or my sister. I need to, yes, share my feelings, but get to the point a little bit faster. But men understand that she needs to talk to figure out even what she feels or how she thinks, versus men figure it out first and then they come to you. So the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus cave. And I'm sure you've heard of the cave. Men need to go to their cave. That's why they shut down. That's why they back up. That's why they go, with the guys and, hit some balls, or, they need to disconnect so they can be alone with their thoughts. Men usually have to figure out what's wrong or what the problem is or find a solution before they come back to you. So men really require that space. And I'll tell you, when we're kind of mixed up in our masculine and feminine energies, which happens, some of this can be skewed, but it doesn't really serve us because it doesn't make us feel good. So understanding that a man may need to kind of separate, be alone, be quiet for a little bit, and we never push him when he's quiet. If he's quiet, it's, babes, anything wrong? Can we, do you want to talk? He's like, no. And you have to respect that and say, and all you can do is say something like, well, I'm here when you're ready to talk. Because obviously, and that's part of your intimacy is, something's wrong. I'm here when you're ready, and being available and ready, when they're ready. Again, most masculine men these days are not in touch with their emotions. And so giving them that space to go into their emotions without babying them, without turning them into girls.